Hey everyone, my name is Allie and welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be podcast episode 9. So, it has been a bit and I have been busy. I have been really busy, both like with my personal life and also with knitting. But with that being said, I do have quite a lot to talk about, so I'm gonna try not to dilly-dally in the intro too much, but I am super excited to be recording another podcast. It has been quite a long time and I'm ready to kind of get back in the swing of things and get back to sharing what I have made, what I'm making, and what I want to make. So I think we should get right into it because I have quite a bit to share, both on the finished object side and also the acquisition side. So without further ado, let's get into my finished objects. So over the past month or two, I think it's been since I have sat down and recorded another podcast, I have completed 3 projects, but I will only be showing 2 of them because I'll explain once I'm done showing the 2 that I'm going to explain. But to start off, I'm going to talk about my t-shirt that I made, my freestyle shirt, and this is what it looks like. Ta-da! It's a little wrinkly since I've had it folded, but this is what it looks like. I absolutely love this t-shirt. I love this yarn and I love this color. It has brought me so much joy to see this color in my wardrobe because I don't particularly have anything this color. I have a few like softer pastel-y greens that I enjoy wearing, but this like vibrant like lime popsicle pastel color I have nothing of, so it's been a really nice pleasure to see, and also I think it just adds something to my wardrobe that I didn't have before, which was the whole goal of choosing this color in particular instead of like a black or a white or a neutral or a pink, which I have tons of. But that being said, I am super happy with everything about this shirt. And I'll start with some of the basics, and let me bring up my notes so I get everything correct. Okay, so this is the Freestyle shirt by Suzanne Mueller. It is a top-down raglan style t-shirt. It is knit in sport weight yarn, and I chose one of the recommended yarns, which was BC Garn Alba. It is 100% cotton yarn, and that's pretty much it. It is a really, really simple garment to make. It's a really simple and easy shirt. I knit the body on 3.5 millimeters, and then for the neckline and the like cuffs, I knit on a 2.5. So some really cool things about this design is even though it is just a simple raglan style like knit, there are some really interesting bits and pieces that I think really bring it together. For one, the raglan, instead of it being like 2 knit stitches or 1 knit stitch or 3 knit stitch, whatever it be, it's actually a purl stitch. So it gives you this bit, it gives you kind of like an opening instead of kind of the bump that a raglan would give. Instead, it kind of goes inward, gives a dip instead, and I think that's really cool. I think it adds such a nice like difference to it. It gives almost like I don't want to call it like a seam because I don't think it looks like a seam, but I don't know, it just gives it like something else, something different, and I really like that without it being like so different that I'm unsure if I like it, if that makes sense. Like, it's obviously, when you look at it, still a raglan, but I'm not sure if you looked at it like from far away that you would be able to tell that it's not 2 knits or knit and it's a purl instead. But I thought that was a really cool touch. And another thing I like about this t-shirt is the like arm cuffs and the bottom ribbing. So it's not ribbing at all. It's actually a folded hem, which I really like. So what you do is you basically knit to pattern and then you switch to the smaller needle. In this case, it was 2.5 millimeters, and then you knit X amount of rows, and then you do a purl row, and then you knit pretty much almost the same exact rows of stockinette, and then you fold it in on itself. And it just creates this really nice seamed kind of store-bought look that I really enjoy. And you do that for both the sleeves and then also the bottom hem as well. Oh my gosh, it's so wrinkly. I didn't think it was going to be this wrinkly when I when I brought it out of my closet, but so yeah, I really enjoy that part of the pattern. It is a bit time consuming because you have everything on the needle and you kind of have to line it up, folding over while it's still on your needle, but I think it's well worth the time because I think it just gives such a nice, like, tailored, store-bought kind of sleeve cuff. The shirt I'm wearing kind of has it, but it's kind of hard to see because it's a striped shirt, but I really like that. And modifications, I only made one modification, and that was to the neckband. So the neckband is pretty much done the same exact way. You knit X amount of stitches, then you do a purl bump, I think, or no purl bump. It's all just 1x1 rib. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to fold it like you would the armbands, well, the sleeves and then the hem at the bottom, but you're supposed to fold it like outwards. So when you do like a folded collar or anything, you fold inwards. So that line, the seam line, pardon me, the seam line is on the inside, but for this pattern, it recommended doing it the opposite way. So the seam line would be on the outside instead of the inside. And I was not the biggest fan of that, so I just did a normal folded collar as I typically would if I chose to do that. So that is the only thing that I changed. Everything else I knit exactly to pattern, and I think it turned out great. I think the fit is really nice, the yarn is really nice, and I just like everything about it. And for the yarn, let me grab it. I have the biggest bag of yarn next to me. I'll show you in a second, but I have a lot to talk about with my yarn. But the yarn that I used is BC Garn Alba. So like I said, this is 100% cotton yarn. It is a sport weight, and I really love it. So this was my first time working with full cotton yarn, and I was a little nervous because, as I said before, I heard it can be a bit harsh on the hand, just as the fabric and the nature of plant-based fibers can be. They're a little bit stiffer. They kind of don't slide as nicely as wool, but I had absolutely no issues with this yarn at all. I didn't think it was drying. I didn't think it was too stiff. I didn't have any trouble with splitting or anything like that. It was just beautiful to work with. It blocked out beautifully, and I really like it. It's very squishy. It feels very cottony, which it sounds so stupid to say, but it is what it is. It feels like cotton. It feels like a fabric, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm explaining it well, but I really like this yarn, and I think if I need 100% cotton again, I may go for this yarn because it was fairly on the inexpensive side, and they have a pretty decent color range for cotton yarns. So very happy with this, and very happy with my shirt. And I've actually gotten a lot of use out of it for the summer, and it has been really hot here still, like in the 90s and high 80s, and I find this not heavy at all. It doesn't stick to my skin. It's very cooling and nice at the touch, so I'm very, very happy with this shirt. The next finished object that I have to talk about, I actually just finished it this morning before sitting down to film this video, and I am so happy. I'm so happy with it. Are you ready? Ta-da! It's my first colorwork shirt. Well, colorwork sweater, I should say. Technically, it's not my first because I was working on the wizard sweater. I am test knitting that, and that technically is intarsia, which is colorwork, but I count this as my first, like, in the round colorwork sweater. And I'm not dismissing the wizard sweater at all. It was 100% my very first one, but in a different way. And I'm going to talk about the wizard sweater, I think, next podcast, because I'm going to wait until the pattern comes out to see if there were any changes or anything, just so I can talk about the pattern fully in my experience that way. But it is done, and I probably will post a picture on Instagram pretty soon of it being done, or I'll pop it in here at some point. But I want to talk about that sweater when the pattern is fully out and ready to be purchased or looked at or getting inspiration from and all that kind of stuff. So I am going to talk about this sweater today, which is the terracotta sweater. I could not be happy. Like, literally, I'm like beaming and I want to go outside and wear it right this second, even though it's actually not too bad today. The weather has been cooling down a little bit, but so let me bring up my notes so I can talk about this sweater. You'd think I would remember since I just finished it, but all right, so this is the terracotta sweater by Liam Knit. It is a all over, well, not all over, it is a motif kind of style colorwork sweater. It starts kind of, I would say, it has a drop shoulder. So it starts from the back and you pick up stitches. Well, you cast on stitches, you do a back panel until X amount of rows. Then you pick up stitches on the shoulders, do X amount of rows, connect them, and then work in the round. So this is what it looks like. And I actually had a lot of fun working on this sweater, and I feel a little silly for saying that because it's like, of course I had fun. I've been beaming about it since I put it on the camera, 2 minutes ago, but I was really worried and I was fully expecting to have to frog and make many mistakes and things like that. And while this sweater is not like perfect, I think it is like my pride and joy right now. I'm just so proud of it. I am so proud of myself, and I cannot wait to show it off to the world. So with the color work, I did a swatch first, which I am really bad about doing. I hardly ever do swatches, which is very naughty. But if it's like a raglan sweater or drop shoulder, like just plain sweater, I kind of know how things are going to work out. So it's more of like I'm trusting myself kind of deal. But with this, since it was color work and there's also 3 different needle sizes, I really wanted to make sure everything was going smoothly and nice. So I did a swatch. I was completely on gauge, which is really exciting. The swatch definitely, I think the swatch took me the longest because, so I knit, I think it's English style where you throw your yarn. That is how I typically knit. So doing 2-stranded color work, it was definitely something that I had to go look. I followed the resources that were provided in the pattern, which were really helpful. And it really took the longest just to kind of get my fingers used to how to work with 2 yarns that are 2 different colors with color work, because I've worked with holding things double before, but that's completely different. So what I ended up doing was I held the contrast color continental style. I think I need to look up different styles because there are so many, but I held it with my finger and move the needle around the yarn, and then with my main color I flicked the yarn. So it was probably not the most efficient way of doing it, but it worked out for me, and I hit gauge and I was able to work the sweater how I really liked it, and it worked the best for me. So technique definitely improved throughout the sweater, so I think I have it down now, maybe the way that I do it. I'm sure there are more efficient and easier ways, but that's just what worked for me, and that's what I did pretty much throughout the entire sweater. So I followed the pattern completely to pattern. I didn't make any modifications. I didn't make any changes. I knit the size small, which also I did for my freestyle shirt as well. So I did the size small, and the body is knit on 4mm needles, and then there is a portion of broken seed stitch. It is kind of hard to see because I used a dark yarn, but here is a broken seed stitch, and that is used, you use a 3.5 millimeter, so you go down 0.5 millimeter, and then for the ribbing, you use a 3 millimeter. So 3 different needle sizes altogether, but I didn't find that burdensome or anything like that, or switching the needle size in the middle of the sweater. I thought it was completely fine, and I had no issues. So basically what it is it's some stockinette, color work, and then you have a textured portion. So again, it's really hard to see because I use dark yarn, but we have a broken 1x1 rib and then a broken seed stitch as well for texture wise. So it's kind of an alternating between stockinette, color work, 1x1, broken 1x1 rib, color work, broken seed stitch, color work, stockinette, all 3 of those, which was really nice and easy. I didn't really know what I was expecting when I was reading the pattern, but then when I realized it was just a 1x1 rib and a seed stitch, I was like, oh, that's easy peasy. And it was. So like I said, I knit everything to pattern. I didn't make any modifications, but I did make some mistakes, which were bound to happen as my first colorwork sweater with lots of new techniques. The first one, which is not a mistake anymore because I actually fixed it, and that's what I did this morning. On the front panel on this side of the colorwork, I was off by like 1 stitch, which was really annoying. So the pattern wasn't exactly correct up until about like 1/3, like I think here. But I just went ahead and duplicate stitched over it, and you can kind of see where I did it, but for the most part, I think I did it pretty neatly. So that was one problem, but that was like a super easy fix, and it looks perfect now. And the other mistake, which is kind of a bigger one, and I could be coping about it, but I don't exactly mind it, is when I connected in the round, I did not hold my colors correctly. So for reference, when I was holding flat, I held the main color as like held in front, I think that, or in back, I think that's the wording. But basically I held it with my finger and treated it as the contrast color. And it worked out beautifully for the flat pieces. So I knit this flat and this flat, and the same with the front, the first 2 motifs flat that way. And it worked out great. I had no contrast color issues or color dominance issues. So when I connected in the round and started doing it the same way, I was like, oh, okay, I'll just do it the same way, because I didn't think there was a difference. But there is. So this portion here, it kind of looks okay on camera, and now that I've blocked it, but this portion here is considerably less like vibrant than the other portions. And that is because I held my yarn that same way, and I guess in the round, or if I messed up somehow or whatever, but I did the color dominance wrong. So the main color, this like dark gray black color, is technically the color that is dominant, and the white is the contrast color, which is technically how it is, but it doesn't pop as much. And when I was doing it, I kind of noticed something was off, and I was like looking at pictures on the Ravelry of projects, and I was like, mine doesn't exactly look like that. But I had only been like a couple rows in, and I was like, okay, let me just trust the process, and it'll work like that. And then I realized that it like kind of wasn't looking correctly. So, but I kept going with it because I was like, okay, maybe my tension is just a little wonky and it'll block out. But then I decided to give the other way a try, where I hold my contrast color as like my main color, and as you can see, it worked a lot better down here. So that was definitely the problem, and for reference, this is that. So there's definitely a difference for sure, but I don't think it's a big enough difference to like think that there's something wrong. Like if you looked at the sweater, I don't think it's enough of a difference to be like, oh, what happened there? Like, unless you have knit this sweater and know what it's supposed to look like, you know what I mean? And again, maybe I'm just coping because I did not go back and fix it, but I really think it is not that big of a deal to me, and maybe future me will think otherwise, but I can always go back and graft it and fix it that way. But for now, it is not a big enough deal for me to want to fix it because you can still clearly see the pattern, and I don't think it stands out like enough that looks like a mistake, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, I had a lot of fun. I learned so much making the sweater, and I am like ready to take on the world now, and I cannot wait to wear it either. Like, it's finally gonna get like a little bit cool here, like mid 70s, and I might have to break this out. I might have to go out pearly in the morning and just wear this, go get a coffee or something, because I want to wear it. I love it so much. But that being said, let me talk about the yarn that I use. So the yarn that I used 2 different brands of yarn. For my main color, I used this Kelborn Woolens Scout yarn. So this is a DK weight. In the pattern, it held a fingering and a mohair together, but I went back and forth for a really long time. I mentioned this in my couple videos ago, whether I was going to hold a DK 2 fingering or if I was going to do the fingering in mohair, and I actually ended up just holding a DK single, which I think was perfect for me. I really like the look of it. I didn't particularly want mohair, so it kind of just worked out, but I also didn't particularly want to hold 2 strands double and then, spend a little bit of extra money on more balls of yarn. But regardless, I decided to go with a DK weight. So this is the color Charcoal Heather. It is 100% wool, and it's really nice. I don't know if it picks up on camera that much, but there is a little bit of it's heather, so it's a little bit of heathering, and it's like just the right amount, kind of like that charcoaly, it's called Charcoal Heather, but I wanted it to be kind of like that rustic looking charcoal color, because I felt like that was really nice for a terracotta sweater, going kind of with the theme of like almost like pottery, like handmade rustic-ish. So I found this yarn and I immediately knew this is what I wanted. So I picked this up. I originally ordered 3 skeins, and then I realized that I was probably going to need some more. So I ordered 2 more, and I still have 1 skein left over and quite a bit of my 4th skein left too. I think I have a little bit over half, so I technically only needed 1 more skein, but that's okay, because I definitely needed to order more too, and I'd rather order more of the same dye lot than have to hope that the next time I buy it is the same dye lot. And then my contrast color, I held this. This is Celestial Dye Works. It is just like undyed, just like this light creamy white color. And originally I was a little bit worried that this would be too creamy, but I actually think that held together in the sweater, it whitens out a lot, which is perfect. Like, it's definitely not like a bright stark white, which is not what I wanted, so I'm really glad, but I think the Charcoal Heather really kind of evens out the tone. I don't know, because look, even on camera you can kind of see that this is still quite creamy, but it just like transforms with the heather next to it. So I'm really happy how that turned out. I did have a backup plan if I needed a different color. I had yarn in stash, but I think that this worked out perfectly. So I literally just finished this morning. I just finished doing that duplicate stitch on the motif that I had been offset by 1 on. And yeah, I've kind of just been staring at it all morning because I just really want to wear it. I might just wear it around the house today, honestly. I might. But yeah, I'm super duper happy with this sweater. The pattern was very easy to follow. The charts were very easy to follow. There were 3 charts in total, and they were clear, and no confusion. Their instructions were very clear too, and also it had a lot of resources in the pattern as well, which I referenced a lot. Videos on how to hold yarn, videos on like stitch definitions and things like that. So it was really very helpful. And I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy with it. So now I want to talk about my works in progress, which I only have one for now, but I am probably going to cast on another in the very near future. But the one I am working on now is the Lost Off the Shoulder Top by Friday Knits. It is kind of my last summer garment of the season, I believe. It's kind of like a summer slash, I mean, it could be any time of year really, but I would say it definitely gives off more summer vibes. So, and oh, I want to show off this project bag I got. Isn't it the cutest? It's very fall. I'm ready for fall, and I saw this and I was like, I gotta have this. Look at it. It's just the prettiest pumpkin fabric ever. But I am using, so this is all I have so far because I pretty much like zoned in, focused on my terracotta sweater. I actually had started this in the middle of working on that, but I kind of like set it aside so I could finish my terracotta sweater because I was just having so much fun. So this is what I have so far. Oh, that is not a good angle for it. Okay. Ta-da! I know it looks like a ton here. So this is, let me try to hold it a better way. I don't think there really is a better way to hold it, but this is a top-down raglan style top. It is pretty much as the description says, or as the title says, is an off-the-shoulder top. So it'll probably, I assume it'll kind of be like this on me, which I really enjoy. So I actually saw this on a YouTube video for summer, recommending summer patterns from Friday Knits themselves, and I saw it and I was like, ooh, I really like that, and I decided to kind of go out on a whim quickly and get some yarn and cast it on as my last summer project. So I am actually knitting this along with my best friend, my roommate. She is knitting one as well. Hers is like this green, dusty green, and is so pretty, but I decided to go with pink, which is fitting for what I'm wearing today. But I was really debating if I wanted to go pink or if I wanted to do the same exact color that she's doing or a light blue. But I decided on this pink, and hopefully it is not too close to my skin tone because I feel like it could be on hot days, but we'll tackle that when we get there. So for the yarn I'm using, Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino. This is the color Soft Rose. So it is a really pretty color, and I really enjoy Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino. This is the third time I've worked with it now, fourth time that I've worked with it now, and it just is really lovely. I think it gives a really nice stitch definition and is really nice to work with. So this is a fingering weight garment. I'm working on 3.25 needles, and it is pretty much made the same way as if you were to make a raglan sweater or a t-shirt. The only difference is you cast on quite a lot of stitches because there is no neckline, and there is like, you don't pick up any more stitches for the neckline. You pretty much start it here. So it is quite, there's quite a lot of stitches, but other than that, you pretty much work the exact same way you would a raglan. You have 2 raglan stitches here on the 4 corners, so here and on the back as well, splitting the arms and the body, and you do increases every so often to extend those portions and also make the raglan. So that is all I really have to say about this so far, since I don't have too much. I've just finished doing my increases, which I may have to do a few more. I'm kind of in between sizes, so I'm kind of just winging it because it is a raglan. It's pretty easy to adjust and make modifications. So I've just finished, and I'm gonna try it on before I stop my increases to see if I need to make any more. This does recommend some negative ease, I believe, like depending on what kind of style you want, it's like up to 20 centimeters of negative ease. I believe. But I definitely don't want that much. So I'm going to try it on and see how it looks and make adjustments that way before I stop my increases. But after you do the increases, you pretty much work until X amount of length, and then you split the sleeves from the body and continue working the body, and then pick up and finish for the sleeves. So this is all over 2x1 rib, which I really like. I really liked my secret little crop top that I made, which was in 2x1 rib or 3x1 rib, and I really like that look, and I think it's so stretchy and nice, and I just really like it. So I was really excited to find this pattern, and this pattern is actually part of like a whole series, the Lost series. So I think there's shorts, there's a shirt, there's a bunch, which I think socks too maybe, but yeah, I really like the off-the-shoulder top because I really like those. The problem I have with purchasing like them from the store is I have very narrow shoulders and kind of like a bit of weird proportions up here, so they never fit me how I want them to fit me. They always fall off my shoulders, or it's just like kind of weird. So I'm really excited to be able to tailor this to my own measurements and actually it fit how I want. So that is the Lost Off the Shoulder top. Next, I want to talk about my acquisitions, which is going to be my largest, probably largest portion, but I'm going to try to move pretty fast. So at the end of July, I did a bunch of stuff, but I was holding off buying yarn aside from the few skeins I bought, I think in the beginning of July. Whenever the triangle yarn crawl was, that was the last time I had bought yarn, and then I was waiting for August to buy yarn because August is my birthday month, and I knew I wanted to treat myself to a gracious amount of yarn, and I did. So the first thing I want to talk about is actually a kit that my best friend got me, which I'm really happy and excited and thankful that she found because, well, it's a Santa's Garden pattern, and if you have tried to buy Santa's Garden patterns before, it's very difficult for overseas people, at least me in the US. I know it is quite difficult to find patterns to buy, and I believe the only way you can buy them is if you buy a kit now. I'm not sure where my best friend got this online, but I'm pretty sure that's the only way that you can buy patterns. They are listed on Ravelry, but you cannot purchase them on Ravelry. You cannot purchase them on, I think, the Santa's Garden website, or you can, but I don't know. All I know is that it's hard to find Santa's Garden patterns if you don't buy a kit. So she so graciously bought me a kit, and this is it. This is the, what is it? The Marius, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, sweater. And it is so pretty. It's another color work because I was just so excited, and I had mentioned that I really like this pattern, and she so graciously found a kit for me and bought it. So this is a little, I don't even say it's less color work. I think it's just kind of focused up here on the yoke section rather than being split than the terracotta sweater, but it is still that kind of like motif style color work, which I am super excited about. So in this booklet, it's actually really nice because it has all the charts and everything, and I don't want to share too much since it is a paid thing, but it seems very descriptive and informative, and everything seems clear. I've read through it like 20 times because I'm excited to start, but everything looks really good, and it also is just so cute coming in this little thing, and it does have like a hole that you can like hang it up or connect it to like a binder or something if you want to. And the yarn that she got me, I believe this is worsted weight yarn or DK. I think it is worsted, but the yarn that she got me is also Santa's Garden. So she got me Santa's Garden Pure Gint. So for the main color, it is this color here. It's kind of like this oatmeal-y gray color. It's showing up a little bit more gray on the camera than it is in person, but I will put the name of this yarn color down at the bottom because I am not sure how to say it. But then for my contrast color, she got me this dark green, which I think is really fun. I've really been into green lately, and especially like this deep kind of like foresty green. I feel like I'm the light pastel green and then like in the forest, in the woods, Christmas green, you know? But, so I really like this color. I think these two are gonna look gorgeous together. So she so graciously got me this, which I'm so excited about. I have never worked with pure gimp before, and I am very excited because I've heard some good things about it. I will say it is definitely more on the woolly side. It's definitely a little bit toothy, but I think that is so nice sometimes, because as much as I really like fluffy sweaters, I know that over time they're not gonna like hold up as much as something that's a little bit more rustic. So I'm really excited, especially with color work, when I feel like the yarns are rubbing together quite a lot and things. I don't know. I just feel like this is gonna look really good. So I'm excited to start that. I think that's gonna be my next thing that I cast on, which I will do shortly, probably. I wanted to make some progress on my off-the-shoulder top first. Before I continue, I just need to show you my bag of yarn. I have actually two bags, but one is like a smaller thing, but I just want you to look at it. This is, it's so full. It is bulging with yarn, which makes me so excited because I have been trying to be really strict with my yarn buying recently, so this was like a big treat. I mean, it's pretty much all sweaters in here, so there's quite a lot of the same yarn in here. But that being said, let me move on to my next yarn. Okay, the next yarn that I purchased is one that I actually got from a fiber festival. So this was the Southern Comforts Fiber Festival over in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is local to me. So I went kind of with the desire to get yarn for the oatmeal sweater by Kutova Kika. It is one that I kind of planned to search for yarn here way back in one of my upcoming planning videos I did. I knew that I wanted to look for yarn at this festival to see if I could find it. I wasn't too hopeful, since a lot of the fiber festivals are really for hand dyers and a lot of variegated yarn, which is so beautiful, but for it all over cabled, I knew I wanted something very plain, very simple, and I found the perfect one. So it seems so boring because it's tan, but this is the Fiber Studios Yarns to Die For Prime Alpaca. So I'm really, it's so nice. I wish you could feel it because it is so soft, but it's not like, it's spun so nicely. It is not like loosely spun, soft, like kind of roving-ish, or very fluffy. It is very fluffy, but it doesn't feel like loose, like it's gonna like split a lot, which I really, really like. So, unironically, this is the color oatmeal. And I looked at this when I was looking at their stand, which is so beautiful. They have so many beautiful yarns. And I was like, oh my god, that's literally the color that I envisioned for this sweater. And it is called oatmeal. So I thought it was just so perfect. So this is 100% alpaca. And it is, I think this is 100-gram ball skein. It's 8 ounces and it has 660 yards. So it's quite a chunky skein. But I'm going to hold this double, I believe, to get the gauge. It is a DK weight sweater, so my plan is to hold it double. I'm going to have to do a swatch because I need to see how much this alpaca is going to grow, and that will kind of determine the needle and the size that I make, because right now I'm planning on making it small, but if it grows quite a lot, I might size down to the smaller size. Because I do want it like a little bit oversized, but I don't want to be like swimming in it. So I'll have to make a swatch and see my gauge and also how much it stretches to after I wash it, since it is 100% alpaca, and I know the alpaca can grow quite drastically. So yeah, that is the yarn I have for the oatmeal sweater by Kutova Kika. The next yarn that I have, well, I bought this in the next yarn I'm going to show you together, but spoilers there. But So I live in the US, and if you live in the US, you are probably aware of the new tariffs that are coming. And long story short, Knitting for Olive had announced that they were no longer shipping to the US for the time being until they could figure something out. So, and you know, at the time, nobody knew how long that was going to be. And if you can't order online, then the stockist at our local yarn shops probably wouldn't be able to order either. So I panic bought. I panic bought some yarn. So the first thing, I really like Knitting for Olive, and I didn't want it to go away. So I kind of panic bought for the next few projects that I knew I was going to make, just in case. And if you follow Knitting for Olive, they announced that the stockist can order. So panic bought for no reason, but it's okay because, like I said, these are projects that I already have in mind and that I already knew I was going to use this yarn for, so I just took the opportunity to buy it now, just so I have it. And the first yarn I bought was Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino. This is in Dove Blue. Wow, it is showing up way more vibrant on camera. It is really like this very dusty kind of suburban blue, but yeah, wow, it looks like super blue on camera. But so this is a worsted weight yarn. This is 100% merino. This is their heaviest version of all their yarn, and I have purchased this yarn to make the sweater with. Let me bring it up so I can get my facts straight. All right, so this is for the sweater by November Knits. And this is a sweater that I have had saved on my Ravelry, like pretty much since the time I made it and the time I was looking at patterns. So I'm really excited that I am able to get yarn and finally cast this on. This is also in my Make 9, so I'm really excited for that. It is pretty much it's a raglan style sweater, and it is got kind of a really nice split raglan. I think there's a term for that maybe, but what it is I'll pop pictures up here. It's like there is like a single raglan with purl stitches and then a double knit stitch and then a purl stitches and then another knit stitch. So the raglan is thicker, but there's still like a gap in between. So I think that was really pretty. And then the main feature of this sweater is the very high ribbing and split hem, and I am obsessed with it. That is the first picture that you see when you go look at the sweater, is that really high split hem, and I love it. So I've had that on my list for years now, and I finally bought the yarn. And this is just such a pretty blue color, and I wish it showed up better on camera, but it is like a dusty blue kind of color. And I am also making this sweater with my best friend. She is using the same yarn, but in like a lighter heathered gray color. So I am a little nervous to try this yarn because I haven't heard like the best things about like the texture. It definitely is another one of those kind of woolly wools, but when like rubbing it and holding it against my skin, it doesn't feel super itchy or anything. So I'm hoping that when I wear it and when I block it, it'll kind of soften up. But so I have heard things about that, but hopefully everything goes well. I am trusting Knitting for Olive because I've never disliked one of their yarns or working with their yarns. So yeah, first time with heavy merino in the color Dove Blue. In my final yarn acquisition, I think, unless I'm forgetting something, but I think this is it. This is also a Knitting for Olive purchase that I kind of panic bought at the same time. It is in the plastic bag, so because I just haven't taken it out. So sorry for any crimpling and crunkling. But so this is it. I'll pause and take out the two that I want to show. So the two that I have gotten are these two colors. They are two reds. So I am planning on making a ranunculus with these two. My best friend actually made a ranunculus earlier this year, and I absolutely love it. And I like kind of haven't stopped thinking about it, but I knew I wanted to make it in like a wintry version. So there is a version on the actual Ravelry page that has it in this really deep red, and it has a turtleneck, and it just looks so comfy, and that was kind of the inspiration behind this. So I decided to once again kind of go out of my color palette and go with some reds, which I also have been thinking about quite a lot. Kind of obsessed with red, and I don't even know if red is like a good color on me. I'm not sure. I don't really have anything red, so this is kind of a big risk, but I'm ready to take it. So what I decided to do was I got this is the Knitting for Olive Merino, not the Cotton Merino, and this is the color Pomegranate. So it's like this kind of bricky red. It's definitely more on the warm orangey side than like a true red. But when I was looking, they do have a like true red, which is I think this is red currant, which is like the equivalent of like the red, you know, like the primary red. But I felt like this might be too bright for me, and with it being my very first like red garment, I kind of wanted it to be kind of an even like neutral red instead of a prime red, but not like a burgundy. So I decided to get the red currant mohair, but the pomegranate merino. So together, I think these are going to even out to make like exactly what I want, because there's no mohair in the pomegranate. It's just the red currant color, which is a beautiful color, but I think if I had the same merino, it would have been way too bright for me for a first red garment. So I decided to go with kind of the darker tone, and I'll have to make a swatch to see how it looks, but I'm pretty confident that it is going to even out really beautifully and make a perfect tone that I want of red. So I'm planning on, like I said, making the ranunculus with this and making kind of like a Christmas version, simply because it's red. It's not actually a Christmas version, but I really like the idea of holding it with mohair, and I was looking on Ravelry to see other people's projects to see if they kind of did the same combination, and they did, and I really liked the look of it. So that is what I went with. I kind of went out of my box with this color as well, but I'm excited. So I'm pretty sure I will get this done by Christmas, because it seems to be a very fast knit, and I am really excited so I could wear it on Christmas Day, because I think it'll be a beautiful garment to wear on Christmas. All right, I think that is all I have to talk about. I'm probably forgetting a yarn somewhere or something, but I'm pretty confident that's it in terms of my like knits, work in progress, and yarn that I can think of off the top of my head. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, I know this is a bit on the longer side, but I'm hopefully going to get back into more frequent videos so they won't be so long and won't be so infrequent. But yeah, I'm really excited to continue sharing and continue knitting, and if you made it to this far in the video, like I said, thank you so much for watching and listening to me talk. If you are working on anything special, or maybe Christmas presents already, or just want to share what you're knitting, I would love to hear what you're knitting down in the comments, and I will list everything that I talked about today down there as well, including the yarn if I can find the postings. But until then, I will see you in the next podcast. Bye!